Hey guys, I'm Tommy and welcome back to Studio Sense. We're going to be doing a quick take. What is a quick take, you might ask? Like when you don't have a ton of time and you know you're sitting down trolling YouTube trying to find some interesting content or just that little bit of advice or recommendation for something before you take off to go see that girl, go see that guy, go see that movie, go see the parents, go to a restaurant, whatever activity you have planned. And so that's what we're doing. So all my videos are roughly around 10 minutes. This is going to be no different. However, I'm going to try to summarize my take on a fragrance, and I'm going to put it in the description below where and when exactly it starts in that timeline, so that if you want, you can just scroll straight through the timeline with your cursor and get right to the point, right to the heart of the matter. So welcome to my very first quick take, and first impressions is going to be for the House Armaf's Hunter Intense. Just got this today, interested to bust it open and see what it's all about. Now there's not really any hype surrounding this. That passed back in 2016 when it was released, but it is a very well-known fragrance. And the reason that I'm doing a quick take or first impression on it is because the price point is great. So I'm gonna bust the cellophane off this bad boy and we're gonna get straight to the juice. Well, you know, when we were cavemen and roamed the earth, we were hunter-gatherers and we did live in tents. So Hunter Intense makes sense. It is an interesting box that this comes in. It's like literally cloth, like felt. And it is embossed, Hunter Intense. Natural spray, 100 ml bottle. You've got the Armaf logo on the top, that's cool. It's actually a really cool box. Sterling is the house here. Interesting stuff on the bottom of the box. Let's get into the box itself. Open that up. Bottle doesn't want to come out. It's kind of an interesting shape. Literally have to take the whole thing out to get it out of here, because the bottle is, as you can see, sticking out of this. I don't know if you can see it. That's actually not ugly. It's cool. It comes with its own bracelet. So the bottle has a bracelet. So you take this off very carefully. It's like a fragrance Jenga. Just got this kind of melted over to this side and this melted over to this side. The Leaning Tower of Hunter Intense. I'm not sure what they were going for with the fragrance design. I didn't actually look that in depth into it, but it is kind of cool. You've got a leather little coupling here that connects it to the bottle, the lid, so that when you take the lid off, oh, okay, so the lid is independent. It looked like it was actually, so it's actually connected to a little ring around here, but not connected to the lid. Lid fits on, snaps on really good there. But as you can see, it's got two buckles there, and it starts out and it says Hunter on the leather itself. So that's an interesting bottle. I wouldn't call it ugly, I would call it unique. I think it's kind of a cool bottle. Now, of course, we're all about presentation. So the very bottom, there's a sticker, of course, the Armaf, and you can see kind of in a glossy print on the front of the bottle. Now, the bottle itself is a matte finish, but there's the name Armaf Hunter Intense in shiny black there. So you can see it kind of against the matte black there and see the difference in gloss. 100 ml bottle, eau de toilette for men. Let's get into the juice. Armaf is a clone house, and this is to be a clone of Dior Sauvage or Versace Dylan Blue. I'm going to go ahead and give it a pretty good guess that this is going to smell very similar to those, because Armaf is pretty spot on. Armaf, uses really good quality items to make their fragrances. Pretty much always been impressed with what they decide to do in terms of being cloned, and Dior Sauvage and cloned by other fragrances such as Armaf Ventana Pour Homme as well. Now on the top notes, you've got that fruit explosion that is typical of crowd pleasers and compliment getters like this. So you've got that bergamot, you've got grapefruit, you've got lemon, and mandarin orange. Hunter Intense, just like all real men, has a floral heart. See the tears? In the heart accord, you've got ylang ylang, lavender, tuberose, geranium, and cardamom. But that floral note basket that you get in the middle is made vibrant and more masculine with a black pepper infusion. Finally, resting on base notes of patchouli, cedarwood, musk, labdanum, and vetiver. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the intricacies of the notes because this is a cheapie, let's face it. You can get it for under $25 on FragranceNet right now, and if you haven't gotten a bottle yourself, even as a blind buy, and I've not even smelled it yet, I would say go ahead and spend that money. I mean, it's just 24 bucks, 25 bucks, and you got a really cool bottle with a great presentation, and it's going to be, I'm sure, very pleasant smelling. I'm going to bust the cap off of it here in a second though. But again, the reason we're not going to spend a lot of time is typically when it comes to Armaf clones, you're going to get WYSIWYG. If you ever heard of the acronym WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. Well, in this case, we're using our olfactory sense, so what you smell is what you get. And what we're going to smell, I'm sure, in just a second is going to be a compliment getter, crowd pleaser, have that mass appeal. It's going to be a dumb reach, an easy get for those times when you're not necessarily wearing your signature scent and you want to mix it up a little bit. And I'm sure this is where this comes into play. So let me grab a fragrance strip and let's give it a shot. The cap is really heavy. I do like that. That's cool. You got the Armaf stamp. You got the Armaf stamp on the very top of the atomizer. Not all Armaf fragrances have that, so that's kind of unique to Hunter Intense. Let's just see how intense this guy is. Okay, so that's really good. Oh yeah, that's definitely a crowd pleaser. Wow. I actually really like that. See, that's why I like houses that develop a reputation based on the voices heard. In fact, on Fragrantica, this guy right here garnered a 4.3 out of 5, and I think it was 155 different people voted that they really liked this. As with any clone, I'd like to see though, even though I kind of get more Versace Dylan Blue than Dior Sauvage. It doesn't have that harsh opening. It's a little bit more toned down, has a little bit more softer, kind of a white opening, kind of a milky, creamy white opening. I really do like though, it's in most openings you get that fruit infusion where that really almost just takes control and takes 100% of the stage, at least for a little while, at least 20-30 minutes, and then it starts going away and allowing the mid and the bass notes to start filtering through. This, it's almost like it's partnered with the heart accords, the flower notes. You can definitely smell the lavender. So you've got a really good mix of floral and citrus from the very beginning. It's almost like floral and citrus, the heart notes and the open work together, and I'm not really getting a lot of bass. Of course, cedar is a relatively high note, so you can almost sense cedar right from the opening as well. Patchouli has a good binder. You've got, of course, amber. You've got your labdanum. But I really, really like that. It's drying down and becoming a little bit softer as time goes on, but I can tell right now it's got kind of an ambroxany feel to it, but I can tell that this is going to be really good for longevity and give you a relatively decent sillage. So with the spray itself, I can already tell, even on the strip, that you're probably going to get a typical or moderate sillage projection out of this. And my guesstimate, based on experience, especially with Armaf products, you're going to get a good 8 to 10 hours out of this. Now, some people have complained that when they have used this in high heat, that it becomes almost obnoxious, but I think if you ever experience that, it's probably just your body chemistry and not necessarily the product itself. I've had that happen with me on occasion with fragrances that I really liked, but then when I sweat, I didn't necessarily like it. It's just not a good combination and not a good chemistry mix sometimes. But it's a rarity. It doesn't happen all the time. Yes, I really like this. Definitely something that is a crowd pleaser, definitely a compliment. If you're looking for a compliment getting fragrance, to mix it up a little bit with your signature fragrance or other crowd pleaser, this is the way to go. Now, is it worthy of the name Intense? I'm not so sure. It's not a super intense. It doesn't have a really harsh opening. A lot of times you expect an EDT to behave like an EDP when it has the word intense in the title, but I think it's just a hearkening to what it is attempting to do, but not necessarily succeeding. So I don't think you're going to get like an eau de parfum with that kind of veracity or intensity out of it. But it is not heavy-handed. So it has a really nice floral, citrusy opening. It's not heavy-handed. It tones down a little bit going into the dry down. But you have a really nice, crowd-pleasing, mass-appealing, compliment-getting fragrance for under 25 bucks. Really, what's there to complain about? Not much. So as is expected from House Armaf, we've got another good clone here without the powdery aldehydic, without the harshness in the opening, and it does last for a good many hours. All in all, a great buy, great blind buy, a great get, an excellent first impression. All right guys, that's my quick take on Armaf's Hunter Intense. I really like it. It's a great compliment getter, crowd pleaser, great projection, longevity, something that you can just put up on the shelf beside your other bottles and use it on those. It could even be your scent of the day someday, who knows. But as is with the case with most Armaf products, they really keep that quality high, even for clones, and yet they're keeping that price right where almost anyone can afford it without complaint. Thanks again so much for hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you next time.